So there is confirmation that Julian Alvarez will be available this summer for clubs interested. A couple of Premier League clubs are interested, including Chelsea. Arsenal should be interested, according to some sources. PSG, very much interested in signing Julian Alvarez. In this video, I want us to dive into Julian Alvarez's game, why I think he's not a striker Arsenal are looking for, and why you might agree with me or disagree with me that Arsenal shouldn't sign Julian Alvarez this summer. I am not all over this idea of Arsenal poaching players from Man City. I'm not all over this idea of Arsenal becoming a retirement center for players out of Man City. Whatever we got out of there, that is enough. We should go elsewhere and do our own transfers. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. This one is for the comment section. If you don't want discussions, if you don't want conversations, this is not the video for you. Wait for the transfer update, wait for the news. We shall talk about the latest around Arsenal tomorrow. This one is about people who want to talk to me in the comments. Do you think that Julian Alvarez is the striker Arsenal need? Do you think that Julian Alvarez is the striker that Arsenal are missing right now? As we look to move on Gabriel Jesus, as we move on Edin Ketia, Julian Alvarez available for 80 million. Should Arsenal try to get him this summer? Now, let's talk about Julian Alvarez as a player, because I think he's a little bit underrated, especially with the fact that he's playing under Erling Haaland, and he's been basked a little bit, and that is the reason why he wants to leave Manchester City. So according to Fabrizio Romano, Julian Alvarez will be leaving Manchester City this summer. He's told his bosses, and his camp have also communicated to Man City that this summer is a summer where the player is going to try to look for regular game time in terms of club football. Yes, he's got that guaranteed start at Argentina. His place is pretty much nailed on, but he also wants to have a pretty much nailed on place at a club level. So Man City cannot offer him that right now. Obviously, with Erling Haaland in the team, Phil Foden is also on fire. Jeremy Doku is on fire. They still have Jack Grealish on both wings. So it looks like Alvarez is not staying at City. He wants to go. He wants out. Couple of Premier League clubs are interested, according to Fabrizio Romano. Arsenal is not directly mentioned, but we are talking Chelsea, we are talking PSG, and we are talking other Premier League clubs. So could Arsenal be one of those Premier League clubs interested in your boy Julian Alvarez? I don't have confirmation that we want him, right? But I do have a lot of sources claiming and suggesting that Arsenal should sign Julian Alvarez. And that's why I've done this video, to react to all the talk out there. Arsenal need Julian Alvarez. Arsenal should sign Julian Alvarez. Arsenal would be, this would be a smart signing if Arsenal do Julian Alvarez. Why? Why is Julian Alvarez a smart signing for Arsenal? Why is it a necessity signing for us? Why have we got to sign Julian Alvarez? What is the reason? What is sorry about that. What is the key component that this guy has that we don't have at Arsenal right now? I mean, he's versatile, so is Gabriel Jesus. He can play on the left wing, right wing. Trossard and Gabriel Jesus can do that. Apart from the fact that he's 24, and again, Gabriel Jesus is in his prime age at the moment. So for me, Julian Alvarez's most important components of his game, we already have at Arsenal. And if you're looking for a forward, we are looking for a killer instinct, an X factor that Julian Alvarez, Gabriel Jesus do not have, and Edin Ketia combined. They don't have that killer instinct. They don't want to be in the penalty area all the time, and they are not scorers of boring goals. They're not scorers of goals where you're always going to make that boring run towards the goalkeeper, and at one point in time, the goalkeeper is going to spill the ball, and you're going to tap it in. That is not Julian Alvarez. That is not Gabriel Jesus. So for me, in terms of Premier League proven, he's been at Man City. If that's what Arsenal want to do, go and sign him. But in terms of the profile, like you see Benjamin Sesko, like you see Victor Gyökeres, like you see Victor Osimhen, I just don't see how Julian Alvarez fits into the picture of Arsenal. I just don't see it. Now, him as a player, I don't think that he is a bad player. Actually, I would say Julian Alvarez is a special talent, right? And I'm not saying that this is me changing my mind about him. I'm not really changing my mind about him. I think whoever gets him this summer will have a good player. Just like Arsenal got a good player when we signed Gabriel Jesus. And everyone talked about it and said, if Arsenal get Gabriel Jesus, they'll have got a good player. Last season, he scored 11 goals and assisted 9 times. That is 20 goal contributions. That is almost at the same level as Kai Havertz, who played, even more games, right? And started more games. Because Alvarez didn't start as many games as Kai Havertz. Then, the season before that, his first full season at Man City, he scored 9 goals and assisted 0 times. When you think about his numbers in general for Man City, this season or this previous season, he has had 17 goals in all competitions for Man City. And the previous season, in his debut season, he had 19 goals for Man City in all competitions. That might strike you as, if he's scoring these numbers for Man City, if he's getting these goals for Man City, in a club where he's not a starter, in a club where Haaland is banging in 40, 50 goals a season, maybe he's really good. Yes, he is really good. But for me, is he what Arsenal need? Is he what we are looking for? That is my problem. In terms of his quality and in terms of what he can do, I don't doubt him. Like, I look at him as a Lautaro Martinez kind of player. I look at him as a Kun Aguero in the future. For now, right now, I'll take Kun Aguero. Right now, I'll take Lautaro Martinez. Right now, I'll take Gonzalo Higuain. But Julian Alvarez for the future, he might end up becoming like those strikers. At the moment, he is not a killer fox in the box. That is what Arsenal reportedly were lacking last summer. A killer in the box, a fox in the box, a player who is happy to go and scrap up some good goals, right? But some boring goals. A player that has a presence in the penalty area. I don't think that is Julian Alvarez. I just don't see him as that player that Arsenal should be going out there to sign, because he is a Romelu Lukaku presence. He is a Victor Osimhen presence. I mean, I don't even like Sesko, to be honest. I've told you before, and I said again, I'm not convinced about Sesko being the right profile. Arsenal should sign this summer, and I've given you my reasons. I think he's too raw. I think he's a novice. I think he lacks experience. I think he's not ready for the big stage. I think there's a lot of pressure on this Arsenal team, and Benjamin Sesko at 20 might not do the job. So when I think about Sesko and his profile, actually, Sesko strikes me more as a number 9 as compared to Julian Alvarez. When I think about Sesko, I'm thinking he can be in the penalty area. He's got that blistering pace, this kind of forwards with blistering pace. He's got a lot of pace, so he can play that ball in behind, runs onto it. His finishing is good. But in terms of being the player that closes the gap between Arsenal and Erling Haaland, no, he is not the one. And Julian Alvarez is another player running away from the Erling Haaland effect. I don't think Arsenal should be a shelter for players running away from Erling Haaland. No, it shouldn't. What we are looking for this summer is our own Erling Haaland. What Arsenal are looking for this summer is their own Erling Haaland. A fox in the box, a talisman, a finisher, a brutal, selfish bastard that puts the ball in the back of the net. A player who's never satisfied regardless of an 8-0 score if he's not on the score sheet. A player who's never satisfied regardless of how many assists he has if he's not on the score sheet. Julian Alvarez is an all-round modern forward. Like, when you talk about modern forwards, very good profile. That's a very good guy. Take him to Barcelona, by the way, right? Take him to Barcelona because Barca need Julian Alvarez badly. But for Arsenal, what we are looking for is not an all-round, flat tummy modern forward. What we are looking for actually is vintage forwards We're looking for a vintage forward. We're looking for a guy that can go 10 games in a row scoring because the chances are there. Because because Arsenal, create the chances, right? Arsenal create the chances. So if you have a player like Julian Alvarez coming in versus, Osimhen, I think Osimhen will be in the penalty area more. He will get the chances more. He's more likely to bury more chances than Julian Alvarez. For me. So for me, it's Osimhen, it is Gyökeres, it is not Julian Alvarez. The second thing I don't like about Alvarez, and this is not negative, this is actually positive on his game, but negative for us right now. The notion he can play anywhere, he can play everywhere. Please, sir, we are not looking for he can play anywhere, everywhere. We are looking for he is a number 9. If he doesn't score, he's not done the job. That is the player we're looking for. Yes, I know Julian Alvarez takes some free kicks. Yes, I know he's a speed merchant at times, but we need a specialized number 9. We need a guy that flops on the wings. We need a guy that flops in midfield, but excels in the number 9 role. We need a bully. Like, there was a time in Romelu Lukaku's season at Chelsea, the second coming from Inter Milan, there was a time where he bullied Pablo Mari. He knocked him out of the way and he dragged him in across his own penalty area, and Romelu Lukaku scored an easy tap in because the defender that is supposed to cover him was behind him, and Romelu Lukaku was dragging him as if, you know the way horses drag cats, right? If you've seen these documentary movies, the historical kingdom movies, a horse, then there is a cat behind. So the way horses drag cats, that is how Romelu Lukaku was dragging Pablo Mari. And that was Pablo Mari's last ever game for Arsenal. If he played another, I just didn't recognize him. I want a striker like that. Like when we played against Bayern, I was like, this team doesn't have a forward line. This team, apart from that Saka goal and the chance he fluffed by looking for a penalty on Nair, apart from those two incidences, can you really convince me and can you really tell me that this Arsenal team really had a present forward line? We didn't. Trossard came, did his thing, scored. It was a shambles. But if we had a proper center forward against Bayern with who's that guy from Tottenham in their back line? Eric Dyer. With Eric Dyer in that back line, and you tell me that Eric Dyer was the better center back across both legs. You know why? Because they had Hurricane and we didn't have a center forward. Because Kai Havertz primarily is a false 9, or you can read him as a midfielder. So for me, bringing in Julian Alvarez, that's a player you can easily shut out. I want a guy that you will struggle to shut out as an opposition. I want a player that Arsenal will feel proud to have on the pitch. I want a striker that has a huge range of goals that he can score. That's why I really, really like Gyökeres and Osimhen, because they've got that huge range of goals they can score. With Sesko, I've seen a few clowns on Twitter bring out his very good moments, like the bicycle kicks, the flying kicks, overhead kicks. You're not going to score 20, 40 overhead kicks in a season. You're not going to score 30 flying kicks in a season. The goals you should be looking at, and for me, when I'm looking for a striker, the goals I'm looking at are goals that result from his movement, especially by blindsiding the defender that is directly responsible for him. That is why I say that Erling Haaland won the Premier League for Man City against Tottenham and against Nottingham Forest. Because those were the two games where Man City struggled. Those were the two games where it could have been 1-1. It could have been, even 2-1. Man City could have lost, the odds could have changed. And what happened? Erling Haaland blindsides Tottenham defenders, The ball is played behind them, and there is one player there. It's Erling Haaland. Just one player there, Erling Haaland. Beyond the Tottenham Hotspur defense. So when we consider those kind of movements, when we consider that kind of quality, don't give me Julian Alvarez. Don't give me Benjamin Sesko, because they don't have it. They don't have it. The intelligence to anticipate where Odegaard is going to play that pass. The intelligence to anticipate where Declan Rice is going to play that pass. The intelligence and the familiarity with the position and with those kind of runs. That is the Victor Gyökeres thing. That is a Victor Osimhen thing. So I'm sorry if I don't like the Arsenal target. I'll back him. Like I said, I don't think he's the worst. I mean, among options, I think he's actually a very good player, Sesko. But with Julian Alvarez, it's high time we stopped getting players from Man City. I'm happy that City are not willing to sell to us. It's high time we stopped getting players from there. Let's go and sign our own players and do our own thing, right? Like I said, it's a video for people who want to have conversations. If you just want news, this is not your video. Actually, your video is dropping very, very soon. So how about you subscribe, you hit the like button, and I'll see you right in the next one.